Fellow Toastmasters and guests, there were two guys that went on a camping trip. When they went on this camping trip, they brought along their tent, their sleeping bag, and their backpacks, filled with everything that they would need for the trip. After they fell asleep, after they went to bed, one man looked over at the other and said, "Hey, you know what? When I look up at the stars, it just reminds me of the vastness of the universe." The other man said, "You know, when I look up at the stars, it reminds me that somebody stole our tent." It's 1979. I'm at UCSD, and I'm taking a class called Wilderness and Human Survival. The point of the class was to expose us to the various parts of the wilderness that we relate to as humans, and to overcome the obstacles so that we can better survive as a race. The final exam was a 5-day hiking trip in the Sierras. Obviously, this is before I was paralyzed. We first got our first part of the trip was the goal of the trip, so that everyone knows, was to enter the forest at point A, traverse a 5-day trip, and exit the forest at point B. If we did that, then we would get our grade, our final grade. If we didn't, then we wouldn't pass the course. It was that simple, very bizarre course. On the way up, there was a very steep hill as we were driving up. I was with my friend. There was supposed to be a 4 or 5 person team. There was only 3 of us. I was with my friend Jeff, who is still my friend today after 32 years, and a boy named Christian, whom I've pretty much forgotten. We were 19, having fun, on our own. It was great. But on the way up this very steep hill, his car started to overheat. Well, cars were much simpler then. So what we did was we turned the heat on in full blast to dry heat away from the engine, for those of you who might remember this as a solution. And then we opened up the windows because it was a warm day, and we listened to the Doobie Brothers, and no, we were not partaking of the evil weed. I know what you're thinking. We went, we slept in we brought our sleeping bags, and some nights we slept on dirt, some nights we slept on rocks. Every morning, we would wake up and take a shot of 151 rum to help us wake up and help fight the cold as it was snowing in the mountains. We brought all of our food, because there were no stores up there, obviously. We brought freeze-dried meals. And my favorite, in fact, was, I remember this was mountain chili, veggies, and juice. Not health food. But at that time, it was food that filled our bellies, and all we needed was the water that we brought. In fact, we each brought a gallon of water in canteens. There was a river that we knew that we were able to refill, so that was no problem. But the gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. That added up to the already heavy backpack that each of us were carrying, and in fact, it totaled over, we weighed each backpack, usually it averaged about 35 pounds. So if you can imagine carrying 35 pounds on your back for 5 days, you get an idea of where we were at. Everything was going well for the first couple of days. On the 3rd day, we somehow missed the trail. We lost track of where we were going, and we ended up lost. We knew that based on the map, that about 200 feet up the hill was where the trail was supposed to be. The only way to get there was we had to climb over this dense group of bushes. We had to be very careful where we stepped, because one wrong step and a leg would slide off, and go down to the ground, and it would cause pain because we'd be doing the splits at that point. At one point, we came upon a cliff down to a dry riverbed. So we had to lower our packs with some climbing rope that we brought, and then reverse it and rappel down this little cliff. It was a blast. Absolutely a blast. One of the best parts of the trip. I remember doing mountain climbing, rock climbing when I was in high school. So it brought back a lot of good memories. Later on, a giant swarm of gnats started buzzing around us. So what we had to do is we took a shirt, put it over our heads, turban style, so the gnats wouldn't get into our mouth, our ears, and our mouth, and our nose. Eyes, obviously, we had sunglasses on. It's the best we could do. We reached the designated endpoint after 5 days. We all got good grades. And in fact, most people did. It was a lot of fun. It was something they'll savor for the rest of my life. And I hope that you've got an idea of what this trip is like and had some fun. Follow me along the trip. Mr. President.